when this Spurs side are at full tilt, they're awesome. They are frightening. And I watched them destroy Manchester City at the Etihad. Mind you, everybody's destroying Manchester City now. But I watched that game, and this kind of tricky period that Man City are going through. Well, Postecoglou has got 2 wins notched up. He's got Pep notched in his bedpost twice during this little run. So, I wonder if people are going a little bit overboard with the criticism of Ange Postecoglou. What are Spurs? They were never a championship contending team in the first place.
Yeah.
And he didn't go there. I'm sure that's what he wants to make them. But first and foremost, he had to give them a style and an identity that the fans wanted, that the fans were crying out for. And he's done that. And again, we're talking about, jumping to conclusions. See if there's Rangers fans out there thinking, oh, brilliant, Big Ange is having a nightmare. We've caught them at just the right time. Then that'd be a hell of a mistake to make. Because, even though they've got injury issues and even though the form's bad, and what I will say is, I looked at his face as Chelsea were running away with things last night, and he did look a little bit broken.
Yeah.
But we've seen that before with him. We've also seen them respond to bad results with phenomenal performances. And, rather than this be a good time for Rangers to be getting them, you wonder, could they suffer a bit of a backlash here?
It's so funny, Fraser, isn't it, the way that it works out that, he's potentially the game to save his job is at Ibrox against Rangers.
Just never know, do you? Especially with Premier League clubs. Trigger happy Premier League chairman. He's actually done pretty well in Tottenham's grand scheme of things the last 18 months. But I do agree with Keith that it's probably focused his mind for this game more than if they were coming into it on their own 3 or 4 wins. I don't see the point in having Pep Guardiola in your bedpost, a notch against his name in your bedpost if it's the only win you have in, is it 7? And you're sitting in the bottom half of the Premier League. I think that infuriates fans as much as anything. You're good enough to go and pump Man City 4-0, hammer them out of the park, and then you go and draw with Fulham and is it Bournemouth?
And
then after that, you're 2-0 up against one of your rivals, London rivals. 2-0 up so early at home. You've got to manage that game and win it. And we talk about managing football games all the time. That's what good managers do. Good footballers sense danger. Good managers sense danger. But it's as if Postecoglou just continues to throw all his chips in. And sometimes it comes back to bite him so bad that there's just no defending what happened yesterday, I don't think. It's just, that was bad management for me. And they're in a horror run. So...
But that's what he does, Fraser. He said it. It's not as if it should be taking anybody by surprise. He has said this. He will not change. This is what he does, and you either like it or you lump it. I don't agree with it either. As I said to you,
look, if we think Steve Clarke at times can be stubborn and pig-headed, Ange Postecoglou is worse. If he just sticks by this system and refuses to have a plan B, what is it? I just want to do plan A better. My plan B is to do plan A better.
The Aussie Mark Warburton.
You said it.
Listen, there seems to be a kind of appetite for big Ange bashing here. I actually genuinely think that he's been a good appointment for Spurs. And I think if they can stick it out and tough this one out a little bit, he'll turn it around. I'm sure of that. And that's why, in terms of, is this good timing for Rangers to be getting them when they are in a bit of a state? He is, you know what he's like. He gets very tetchy. You can see the bad mood sort of sinking in. So you wonder, is this a good time? Because as I keep coming back to it, if they unleash on Rangers and they go full Ange ball, it's going to be a difficult night at Ibrox. And I don't think the Rangers fans will take too kindly to having to watch that either, if that is the case. But I tell you, the flip side, if they get a win over them, they'll absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Thursday night at Ibrox, isn't it? That's just the magic of the Europa League nights at Ibrox. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, I don't like Ange bashing either, because what he did at Celtic was remarkable, phenomenal, and real entertaining. And as a non-Celtic, Rangers, Tottenham fan, I just love watching his teams. I love watching his games because he just do not know what's going to happen, as yesterday proved.
Rangers is okay watching live on YouTube says Ange will get the Pat mix soon. As much as I'd love to deliver the final blow, can't see it on Thursday. It's a free hit for us. No Hadji and Danilo is criminal. Thanks for that one, Phil. And I actually, Keith, I do think that is really significant for Rangers, both those players not being available, because Danilo, I think, up front has made a massive difference, replacing
And he's still not even really up to full speed yet.
Aye, exactly. And Hadji as well. We've talked about
It's madness. It's madness. It's madness. I mean, honestly, of all the kind of mysteries, and sometimes you look at Clement, you think, you seem to be making this job harder for yourself than you actually need to do.
Aye.
And I'm sorry, there is just no way of explaining to me why at the start of the season you're submitting your squad list for the Europa League group stage. You know it's an extended competition, and you know because your medical department is telling you that Danilo will probably be kind of mid-November. Why wouldn't you put him in the squad?
Bizarre.
I mean, I could get it if you had 5 other strikers that were all fit to firing, but you had Cyril Dessers.
Aye.
You had Cyril Dessers. I mean, it's madness. And you know my thoughts on Hadji, and the way that he's been treated has been shambolic, and it's testament to his professionalism and his persona that he didn't throw the toys out the pram. He's knuckled down, and he's proved that Clement was wrong.
Yeah.
And with each passing game, he's now emerging as, do you know what? He's possibly the key man. He's the key man to the added variation and threat going forward, because he's able to knit something together which was fractured earlier in the season. And there might be Rangers fans that are quietly not too unhappy if Hadji and Danilo have to sit this one out, which they will have to sit this one out, if it means they're fresh and ready to roll in the cup final at Hampden on Sunday. And by hook or by crook, it might just have landed really lucky here. Yeah. And this is the great thing about Clement and the situation that Rangers are in now. You just genuinely don't have a clue what you're going to get. And you don't know if he's planned this, if he's a genius that's planned it, if he's sort of a John Cleese bungled his way into it. But, you have got this scenario now where Spurs are down on their luck. It does feel as if there's people putting Ange Postecoglou in the Green Mile right now down there, putting him under all sorts of pressure. He picked up more injuries yesterday, didn't he?
Yep.
Romero. And he's coming up to Glasgow. Could you imagine if Clement was able to take that scalp going into the cup final? It starts to change the whole narrative about where Rangers are this season under Clement.
Yeah.
And then you go into a cup final, and by the way, guys, my two best attacking players, they're ready to start. Gave them the week off.
Kaiser says, Keith, if Rangers fans could pick one game, what would it be? Tottenham or the cup final? I imagine it will always be the cup final.
Oh, but my word. How obvious is that? That's the easiest question ever.
Sorry, if you're watching at home, Kaiser, I maybe shouldn't have stuck that up. That was maybe my fault. But, just what you're saying, it could transfer everything, Keith, transform everything.
Yeah. I mean, look, beating Spurs in a European competition, that's big. That would be big.
Aye, huge.
But does that mean they then lose the final? Was that not the question? They only win one of them?
Aye. Right, okay. Aye. So, and then you take in the context of they're doing very well in the Europa League. They look as if they have pretty much got the place sorted out for the playoff rounds. So they don't really need to beat Tottenham, but they really do need to beat Celtic. Sort of like Philippe Clement really needs to find a way to beat Celtic because his job prospects will depend on it, ultimately.